Okay, Manan, go ahead and finish what you were saying, please.
Okay. Yeah, I said, well, I haven't traveled to that many places actually, only Western Europe. So, but maybe, I don't know, my favorite one, it would be Italy and Rome, because I actually studied ancient history and Roman history more particularly. So I really appreciate being, in this atmosphere where so many things happen and so much culture and so much, so many things that we know started there, even if it's not the only place, and even if there were other places before that were very, very important, but still, maybe it would be that. And but
Yeah,
I would love to.
that's definitely on my bucket list. I want to see the Coliseum, and I mean they built roads that are still in existence today, not
Yeah,
just in Italy, but in England and all over Europe.
yeah,
And
all over Europe
just
and Africa
incredible.
and Asia. Yeah.
All the knowledge and everything. Yeah, that'd be a beautiful journey. Okay, we talked about the first track. Let's talk about the second one, which is Holy Ghost, and it's the one that you've made a music video for. Is there any reason that you chose that song, or just you just had a good storyline and wanted to make a video for it?
Efficient.
And it's a good song too. Great song.
Thank you.
We chose this one because it's the most efficient and the shorter of the album. So and we had a scenario in head before releasing this, before filming this video. So we work with our friend Tilia Weaver for the scenario, and after with the director Sébastien Duhatis, who is a really cinema's lover, and he have really an eye for to cap things, essential things. I
yes.
think, yeah. And the idea of plan séquence.
I guess it's a sequence shot. I don't know if that's how you say in English, but that you just have one long shot and no cuts. Yeah, so that's what.
It's something uncommon in music videos. We see it on films or
short films.
Sorry.
Okay.
But we don't see it in music video. I think I saw it something like 2 or 3 times, no more. So for us, it was important to have something original on music, very catchy, I can think.
Yeah, I guess that's also one of the reasons why we picked this song for the music video, is that it's probably our catchiest. It's the shortest. It's also the most efficient, like you said, and it's the one that has the most sort of, I'm going to exaggerate a little bit, but it's like radio potential, Sure. We're not going to do that with one 10 minutes long song. So I guess this is also a sort of practical choice, even though that's of course not the only reason, but it's also one of the reasons.
Yeah, for sure.
Tell us about the story. The story behind it.
The story, it's based on the lyrics. Yeah.
Well, it was actually, it's the only song that was not written, the lyrics were not written by any of us. It was written by a friend of ours who's called Sasha Lopez. And it's freely inspired by the history of the monk Girolamo Savonarola, who lived in Florence in the 15th century. And who was this guy who wanted to cancel all superficial things like burning paintings and works of art to concentrate on very
On faith.
yeah.
Yeah, he had an aesthetic way
Yeah.
of practicing faith.
So it's about how religion can be very extreme and
The dangers of
the
dogma.
dangers of it. Yeah.
Yeah, dangers of dogmas. Yeah.
We
Will there
wanted
be videos for some of the other tracks, or?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Yeah, no. Will there be music videos for some of the other tracks on the album?
We would love to, but I don't know. We don't know yet.
No.
Probably not.
It's
Because it's it's very
expensive,
expensive
yeah.
and and that's one of the reasons why it's very difficult to make. And we have very long songs, so
Mhm.
the two songs we want to make.
out of which we want to make a video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Are the two of the longest of the album. It's the Wegferend Jus Lui de la Braiso, and it's clearly impossible to make because it's very expensive, and it's too expensive to make 2 short films of 10 minutes.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's.
But we
talk
would love to if we
Go
could.
ahead. No, go ahead.
No, I was just saying. Yeah, I was just saying that if we could, we would love to, because we have stories to tell about these songs. I mean, we have ideas in our heads about, bringing it on a screen. We would have ideas for that, but it's just, yeah, practically it's difficult to make.
You got to go see them. If you go see them, they'll probably have these like videos on the back in the background, right? You have to come and see the band. It's an attraction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the Wayfarer. It seems like a theme song for you guys. Talk a little bit about that track. All of them are great tracks, but go ahead.
Well, the Wayfarer. Well, it's I think it's a very progressive song.
Yeah.
It has a lot of songs in one song. and actually this very progressive aspect is meaningful if you look at the lyrics, which you probably have. Because it's really about it's a sort of human journey. It's the sort of, when you're feeling sort of trapped in human expectations. That's what I wanted to convey when I wrote the lyrics. You feel trapped in expectations. You feel sort of trapped in humanity, because humanity, being human, being alive, should be so full of possibilities. But at some point you realize that we are sort of trapped in our societies. We have to do some very trivial things all the time. And I think the Wayfarer was a way of expressing that, expressing a sort of will to merge with the elements and to become something more than just a human who goes to work and pays the bills. Although I'm, exaggerating, but it's also a bit about that.
That's wonderful.
And that's what
we all wish.
are about.
We all
exactly.
wish we didn't have to do that every day. Then we could do this instead.
Yeah.
Creative.
And I think they can tell you more about the music.
Yeah,
really.
I think the most varied song. We have some blues influences, progressive rock, metal, Celtic influences too. It's maybe the more arranged track of the album, the more different.
From live to studio.
Live to studio, yeah. We have 2 versions of these songs, and in studio we want something more big, more impressive, I think.
Yeah, impressive.
We have two guitars, we have drums, we have percussions, we have 2 whistles, we have many voices, and this is something we cannot play live in this configuration.
Yeah, just the 3 of us. Yeah.
So in live, it's something more
intimate.
Yeah. But we compensate.
Compensate.
We compensate with the energy we put on stage to play this song, and we try to have the same energy we can hear in the studio version.
Yeah.
All right.
If you have something to add, no.
No, it's no.
Well, maybe she'll talk about Druid. I think that's Druid, like Druid.
Yeah.
All right.
Druid, yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful crickets at the beginning and some wonderful percussion. Talk a little bit about that one.
Wow.
Well, Druid was actually born while we were rehearsing. Someday I was just casually playing, like I didn't know what, and this
Catch my
this
ear.
yeah, this riff catch Thomas here, so called.
Sorry.
So it's so he was like, oh, you should keep this, and then we started making a song out of it. And at the time I was reading a book, a French book from a guy called, I think, Oliver Perru, which is called Druid, and which is a fantasy story and very freely inspired from the old Druidic sort of things. So
keep just only
we just kept the title, but because it made me think of it, and then we wrote something totally different. So yeah, this is a short song which we're not used of creating, but it's
like a bridge in the album. It's like something,
a transition, I would say.
Sorry,
that's fine.
Between our word and the other word. And it's a calm and quiet song, and maybe the more Celtic influenced song too. And we have a guest on this song. It's a friend of us named Jeff Grimal, who played in bands like The Great Old One. Is a famous black metal band in France, and he played too in Kesis, his solo project, something more desertic. It's folk too, but more spiritual, more desertic. And he had another folk band named Spectral, with other musicians, past members of The Great Old One, and Raphaël Verguin in cello. And they play beautiful music too. And we want to have this guitar sound. He has a very specific guitar sound, and the sound of Manon and the sound of Jeff goes perfectly together. So yeah, we managed to have these two guitars on this long bridge.
Yeah.
Excellent. All right. Lost in Reverie. Talk a little bit about that. Another beautiful song.
It was a song I wrote.
6-string folk guitar.
Yeah, 6-string folk guitar, but mandola too. And it was a song I wrote during a summer night in Lyon, in a city of France. And it was a moment I was totally lost in my reveries. And I took the mandola and started to play, and this riff tournait en boucle.
Wow, it's sort of, came in circles in your head.
In my head,
you just couldn't get rid of it.
And I try something to I tried to play this riff, and with the help of Manon, it became Lost in Reveries, and we decided to don't have lyrics on it because
I think the absence of lyrics creates more space for you, for the listeners to feel it and to imagine what it's like to be lost in reveries also. So
like a meditation maybe.
Also,
Okay, now this next song, I'm going to let you say the title because, I will destroy it. It's complete French. So you introduce the title.
Yeah,
say it
it's
again?
not French.
Oh, it's not
It's
French.
not. It's not French. It's an old language we have in south of France called Occitan, and it was spoken before French in south of France. Actually, it's more or less disappeared. We are something like 5,000 people speaking this language, and it's a song about an
But wait a
hard
minute, say the name of it, just because I want to hear how it sounds.
De quoi?
Dis-le.
Ah, the title is Jus Luei de la Breiso.
Thank you.
Jus Luei de la Breiso.
And
And
what does
we
it
can
mean?
We can translate it by under the eye of the witch, under the eye of the sorceress, maybe more.
Yeah, pretty much the same.
And it's a song about a hard remission, and this the situation of the songs. Ce qui se passe dans les paroles. Is it came to me through a dream, and when I woke to wrote the lyrics, je me suis dit, I thought they need to be in Occitan, and they came in Occitan, and after it I talked to these lyrics to Manon and Alexia, and we managed to compose this music, this long piece. And Manon illustrates all the parts of the songs with a different riff, and it's a very progressive song too, but it's also inspired by black metal, by something like most atmospheric. And after all the darkness of the long bridge of the song, we have something more luminous,
yeah,
and more quiet.
Right. Yes. Peaceful, I would say.
Yeah, peaceful.
So,
anyone else want to say anything about that one, or?
Well, it's a very I think it's a song that we all like, we all love to play live, because it has all these different stages.
Yeah.
And I think the soaring part at the end for me is maybe the moment that's one of the moments that I enjoy the most on stage, because it's really yeah, she suffers a lot on the guitar.
It's very challenging.
Yeah. But for me, it's like, yeah, like I said, it's soaring. It's really, it's like something is happening. You're transcending something. You're going somewhere else. So it's very pleasant to play live. Pretty much like the end of the Wayfarer for me. And yeah, that's what I could add about it. It was really, really interesting.
Manon?
Yeah.
On the guitar part? No?
What can I say? I mean,
Youssef, in this song.
yeah, I don't know. It's, I think maybe I'm really proud of myself for this one, especially the end of it, the final riff. I think is probably the most beautiful I've ever written. So yeah, I like this song, even if it's always it's always challenging on stage, because they have like this on a 12-string guitar. So I should have, but sometimes I think maybe I should have done this on the 6 strings, but it wouldn't sound the same. So be it.
All right.
But
you have to go where you have to go.
Yeah.
All right, and then the final song is the title track, and tell us how that came about. I mean, that obviously was the song that really you named the album after, so it must have meant a lot. I mean, they all do, but this one kind of held a higher place?
Well, actually, you know what's interesting is that we'd never intended for this to be, for the album, I mean, to be a sort of concept.
Oh,
It
okay.
all came naturally, you know. We realized afterwards that everything fell into pieces, you know, into place, sorry, everything intertwined, but we never intended for it to happen. It's just that the process was perfectly, it was perfectly natural. And I think we wanted to say something, and it happened. It
Yeah.
just happened. And
Serendipity.
Sorry?
Serendipity. It's wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah,
When you
exactly.
don't plan something and it happens.
Exactly, that's what happened. And on Autremonde, I think, yeah, Thomas started with the mandola. And
I wrote this one like an old medieval sad song who forgot the melody and the lyrics, and I think we can tell it's a way to let go all or old ruins, all or past wounds, to become someone more more peaceful, more more free, more free.
And this is, I'm just, you know, bouncing again on about that, but it has a link with what we were saying before, with Just Louis de la Bresa and with the Wayfarer, for example. This is all about that. This is all about finding something else.
Yeah.
Finding freedom, finding transcendence, letting go of the past, letting go of our old ruins, like you said.
Yeah.
So
and it go with the cycle of Gedim
exactly
too, because letting go ruins, it's like breaking the cycle to go Wegferend,
to go into something else, into
new,
another cycle, or
another new cycle.
Yeah, exactly.
And we have a great guest on this one too. It's my friend Pierre Buret. It's a celloist, very talented celloist, que j'ai rencontré.
That I met.
That I met in music school. We studied together, and it played cello on Celia on the first part of On Autremonde, and for us it was absolutely natural. He come back to play the cello on this track, and we just had to describe the song, to send the pre-production, the tracks, and he improvised this solo with the perfect kind of feeling. We hear it in the studio when we was recording the song, and on CD, we thought we cannot have better part of this one.
It was the same thing with Celia in the first EP. He's so impressive. He comes into the studio, or he does it, from remotely from his own studio, and it's just like, it's perfect. It's exactly what we had wanted.
For Autremonde, it was an improvisation. For Celia, it was on the score, on partition.
Now, you guys at the beginning kind of talked about moving on and creating a new album already, which is fascinating to me. I can't wait. Do you want to talk a little bit about that, or?
Well, go ahead.
It's actually the very, very beginning of the beginning now. So you're probably gonna have to wait a bit. But yeah, we're now rehearsing for the tours that are to come. but
We think of
I'm always, when I take the guitar or whichever other instrument with strings, I'm always looking for things, and I think Thomas is the same, and Alexia the same for the lyrics and everything. So things are coming, pieces are coming from there, and and we just have to take some time to put all this together.
I think
so.
I think the only thing we can say is that it's going to be different from the Autremonde cycle, because this cycle is over. So we're going to go somewhere else. We're not going to stay in the Autremonde.
It's not going to be a third chapter.
No,
It's
exactly.
going to be something else.
Concept album or too
Yeah,
early
I
to
think
tell?
we talked about that, and at the beginning we were thinking about doing a concept album, and then we discussed together, and we're like, I think this is not us to make a concept album. I personally, they will maybe have something different to say, but I don't feel like throwing myself into making a concept album, because there are so many different things I want to talk about, and I never, I write not all, but a lot of the lyrics of Wegferend, most of them, and I never start writing lyrics like I'm gonna write about that. It always comes as I am writing, except some songs like The Wayfarer, which was very specific for me. But usually I start with a sentence that I find beautiful. I think beauty is very important for me. I always start with, it's always very important to me that it sounds beautiful. I love poetry and all that, so it has to sound beautiful. And then as I write, the meaning builds up by itself.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I am not the kind of person who will ever make a concept album. This is not me. But then again, never say never, of course.
No,
it could happen.
I love concept album, but I think if we do a concept album one day, a synced concept album, it will be natural. It will be something. I've not the word in French, so in English it's hard to. Spontaneous.
Like what we did there.
The previous one was spontaneous. On s'est rendu compte.
We realized
it was a concept after the recording of the two parts of Autremonde. So if we write a concept album, I think it will be spontaneous.
Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah,
that's for sure.
Tu voulais ajouter un truc?
Anything else you want to
add? No. You? No?
Right. What are your favorite albums of all time? If you had to sit, I mean, nobody can just sit and listen to one album forever, but if you had to, which one would you pick?
Cool.
Well, it's not my favorite band, and it might not be my favorite album in a sense that it's my favorite, but there is one album that really impresses me. It's Hypnotized by System of a Down, because what I loved about this album is that I have the feeling that I can touch the different sounds. It's, the textures of the sound. I discovered this album when I was a young teenager, and I listened to it in a very different way at the time, because it was so cool to listen to System of a Down. But now I listen to it sometimes, and I'm always impressed by the work on the sounds and I feel like I can touch it. So yeah, I would say this one.
Well, for me, I'm not going to say my favorite album of all time, because it's too hard, but I'm going to mention one album that's been extremely important for me. It's Fallen by Evanescence. Very old now. It's been 20 years, and I discovered it, I think I was 9 years old, and I think that's changed me, really. I was I was going to be a very different teenager from the one I eventually, became after discovering this album. And also vocally, it's been very important. I've taken a lot of inspiration from Amy Lee, who remains as one of my favorite singers. And it's maybe, of course, it's not my favorite album of all time, because I've evolved also. My taste in music has evolved, has matured, but it's still super important for me, and I still love listening to it. So I want to mention this one. Yeah. Also, metalheads usually don't like it, so it's very pleasurable for me to mention it.
Did you
Just
see
kidding.
her on tour? Did you see him on tour recently, or?
No, I
Okay.
never had the chance. I would love
Yeah.
to, though. Yeah.
Thomas?
And I'll get prepared. This is going to take a very long time because Thomas is going to say what is his favorite album. So
No, it will not take a long time because it's so hard to me to answer this question. I listen a lot of music since forever, yeah. And I answered an interview, a fan interview, called "The 10 Album That Changed My Life." So some people can refer to the interview if they are interested. But the album, if I have to keep just one or two albums,
Aha. Tough, isn't it?
I will say "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd.
You knew it.
For sure.
It's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. And after, it's fucking hard.
Not the F word.
What was the second one? I didn't hear the second one.
He didn't say.
Oh. Was it the album cover? I'm wishing you were here. No, I'm kidding.
I will say "Ghost Reveries" by Opeth, because this album is one who changed my life literally.
All right, let me ask you this, because we got that warning again.
Okay.
Is there anything else you guys wanted to mention that I haven't covered?
Quelque chose qu'on voudrait mentionner dont tu n'as pas parlé. Is there anything? I don't think so.
No, maybe the artworks.
Oh yeah, maybe the artworks. Yeah, the artworks of
The
our
artworks
album.
and the production, maybe, of the album will be
So
interesting.
yeah, the artwork was made by a very good friend who is a professional illustrator. Her name is Marine Joumar, and she's we like to say that she's like the fourth member of the band, because she understands very clearly the vision that we have for our music and our music itself. And so you probably saw the illustrations that she made. They fit the music perfectly. They are very original. She has a very own touch. So
And
yeah,
they're very wonderful, and so are the photos too. The photos are fantastic. Whoever did the photo work.
Yeah, the photos by Lionel Pesquet. Yes,
yeah.
They were taken in a cave in the Pyrenees, which was also very important to us symbolically. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an old cave named the cave Lombrive Cave, and it's the legend talk about some old Qatar people who
were imprisoned in
the cave.
Yeah.
An old French king come to this cave, and this part of the legend is more historical, but the real legend talk about the cave is the Pirene tomb, and Pirene is one of the most important deities of the Pyrenean pantheon, who was one of the wives of Heracles, the Greek hero. So it's an important place in Pyrenees, and for us it was an important way to express the rebirth. Something we are in the depth of the earth, and go through. On va vers la lumière.
And we go into the light.
Into the
Yeah.
light. So it's a good way to express rebirth. Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
Well, excellent. Well, guys, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me, and our fans out there, your fans, and Progressive Rock Central. We definitely thank you for all that time and effort, and thank you for your music. We'll definitely be looking forward to that next one. And I don't know what else to
Thanks
say.
for your kind words.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thanks
Thank
for
you.
having
Thanks
us,
so
and
much.
thank you for listening to our music and for reviewing it like you did. It was super nice reading you.
I hope you enjoyed it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I tend to write long ones, and bands like it, but the people reading them are like, get to the point, and it's like, that is the point. These people spent years putting this stuff together. I'm not going to do a paragraph, review.
Thank you so
of
much.
you.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I think I love reading the longest ones are the best. So thanks a lot.
if you want to read something else, read something else. There's nothing wrong with that. Some people can do it in a paragraph, but no. People have spent too much time on this for me to just, oh, it's a fantastic album. Well, yeah, I mean, but why? But yeah. And this band really did put a lot of effort into it. So thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, we
you.
really appreciate it. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to turn off the recording, and we'll talk for just a minute, but thank you.